Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. Just in case you notice, there was a little bit of a glitch. It's my cable service, Spectrum. It's kind of doing its weird thing. So, if there's any technical difficulties this time, it's cable related. So, I just want to warn y'all in that regard. I'm going to do a quick stream on the censuring of Rashida Tlaib because I feel like it's important to. Okay, the cable services, cables causing trouble. So let me repeat that. I'm going to do a quick video on Rashida Tlaib and her being censured recently in Congress because I feel like it's really important to do that. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but as I said, cable, is causing some difficulties with my streaming right now. So let me get started by saying that on October 26th, Marjorie Taylor Greene introduced a bill, H.R. 829, censuring Rashida Tlaib or attempting to censure her for leading an insurrection. Basically, that was the predominantly Jewish Voice for Peace that were at the rotunda at the U.S. Capitol, basically protesting, and it was so extreme, and so the rhetoric was so vile that Congress, that even many Republicans could not vote for this bill. It was that's how extreme it was. On November 7th, Rick McCormick introduced the bill HR 845, which accused Rashida Tlaib of promoting a false narrative about the Hamas attack on Israel, and basically uh, the resolution passed with, I believe, 22 Democrats voting in favor of censuring Rashida Tlaib. 4 Republicans voted against censuring Rashida Tlaib. I'm going to say, I don't say this often, but I'm going to say, a round of applause for those 4 brave Republicans. I am going to quote one of them, Ken Buck of Colorado. He said it was not Congress's job to censure somebody because we don't agree with them. Now, I can accept that. I can accept that because you don't censure somebody because you simply do them. And that one I'm going to make right there. It's simply a thought crime. That's right there. Um, you don't go with the narrative, you're going to get denounced. You're going to be considered the other. And basically, with the Marjorie Taylor Greene resolution that she tried having passed, it basically also try to have, I mean, basically try to make it sound like she's a damn domestic terrorist, and that is unacceptable. And there are people around the country that thinks that she is a domestic terror, like the U.S. U.S. Representation of Hamas in America, and that is just absolutely ridiculous. In in its very just very logic. But I want to go and say this, and I find it puzzling for right a lot of these people on the right, the far right, who claims to be for free speech. I never thought they were for free speech, but they virtue signal that they're such fucking free speech alphas. You know, yeah, I'm for free speech. Fuck your feelings, you bunch of snowflakes. That kind of mentality. And then they're okay with censuring Rashida Tlaib. They fault a Palestinian woman for not supporting Israel. I mean, They demand a Palestinian woman to oppose her own people. I mean, isn't that ridiculous when you think about it? For not, for being critical of a country that she felt like has done an injustice to her people, and in many ways, they have. Yet a lot of these right wing people, ranging from these members of Congress, elected Republican congressmen and senators, people on Fox News and talk radio and right wing bloggers and all of that. These same motherfuckers will look at the alt right with sympathy. You see what I'm getting at? They will look at the same alt right that they would go. Some of these domestic right wing terrorists that I'm talking about, the extreme hard right. I'm not talking about conservatives. I'm talking about the hard right that engages in terrorism, and they will look at someone like a Timothy McVeigh or Eric Rudolph or someone like that, or Bob Matthews from decades ago. Someone like that, and kind of be dismissive about their hatred toward African Americans, and be dismissive about their hatred toward LGBTQ, or be dismissive about their hatred toward Muslims, or their hatred toward Hispanics. But and yes, and even be dismissive about the hatred toward the Jewish people too, because it's all about the narrative and all of that. So they're and so it's all big partisan virtue signal. And so it's kind of like you've heard people like Ron DeSantis of Florida talking about ending wokeness in Florida. Well, it's a form of identity politics, and when you want to shut down pro-Palestinian protests, because you feel threatened by, I don't know, the Palestinians having, equality, justice, that they don't live in an open air prison, that they have access to water, they have access to electricity, they have access to a functioning infrastructure, that they are allowed to leave if they want to their area or come back as they please, to not be blockade all the time. And if you demand for a ceasefire, you're considered a terrible person. But somehow people saying, when someone like Nikki Haley's like, take them out and finish the job, get it done, all of a sudden that's considered positive. I mean, and then you have a cable. So my apologies, my apologies. So anyway, we had these domestic state laws that will go and that we'll have these domestic state laws that basically ban BDS, which is totally unnecessary, don't need to take place. These damn laws don't need to take place. These anti-BDS laws around the country. And they specifically will allow that for Israel. You can criticize China, you can criticize Venezuela, you can criticize Iran, you can criticize Norway if you like, you can criticize Canada, you can criticize Switzerland, you can criticize. I'm trying to think of a country that nobody thinks the fuck about. Liechtenstein, between Switzerland and Austria, the little kingdom of Liechtenstein. You can criticize them. no $250,000 fine, no going to jail for 20 years, which is what some of what the penalty would be for violating the anti-BDS laws that they have in the various states here in the United States. It is such a flagrant violation of the U.S. Constitution, in particular the First Amendment, which is why I have this in the background. And and the thing about it is, what they have done to Rashida Tlaib, what they have done to her, is an absolute travesty. It is. You even have people like right-wing YouTuber like Wild Bill for America, basically demanding, I think about a year and a half ago, demanding that she be sent to Bay. This is how ridiculous it's become. You hurt Israel's feelings, you go to prison. You go to Guantanamo Bay to get tortured. That's where this is authoritarianism right there. This is authoritarianism, and this I when it comes to bigotry and racism and all of that, I condemn it all equally. I condemn it all equally, whether we're talking about homophobia, whether we're talking about racism based on skin color and ethnicity and religious bigotry. All of it is all to be condemned. And so, but this kind of bullshit is going to go and cause some negative attitudes. It's divisive. It's just wrongheaded. And I'm going to say it like it is when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. He is a fucking war criminal, and he should be arrested and sent to The Hague for crimes against humanity, for what he's done in Gaza, but also for his role in the Iraq War. A lot of people seem to forget what happened with his role in the Iraq War. He was the foreign minister in the Sharon government, and while the Sharon government were sort of moderating at that time, and Pat Robertson basically said God caused Ariel Sharon a stroke because he started to soften in his attitudes and everything. This is the kind of craziness we're dealing with. Benjamin Netanyahu was basically calling for the U.S. and Britain and other countries to invade Iraq. One of the worst foreign policy ventures in our modern time. A war that was based on a lie, a war that was a violation of international law, a war that was also a crime against humanity, which, combined with the sanctions of the 1990s under Bush and Bill Clinton, and with the invasion and occupation under George W. Bush, have basically, between Bush 1 resulted in the deaths of over 1 million people. 1 million people died because of what Herbert Walker Bush, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush did. So, and Rashida Tlaib is not a domestic. I mean, she's not a terrorist or a terrorist enabler and all of that. And for people to sit there and attack her, there are things you can attack or criticize Rashida Tlaib on. Her not doing forced to vote on healthcare back in 2021. To basically her not wanting to hold Nancy Pelosi's speakership hostage. You can criticize her on that, but the funding to Ukraine, you can criticize her for that. By all means, criticize her for that all day long. But don't go and associate Rashida Tlaib with terrorism. Saudi Arabia is at the source of a lot of terrorism against the West. and she's on record of criticizing Saudi Arabia for human right abuse, and she's on the record for also criticizing Saudi Arabia's war against Yemen, where there's actually a genocide that's taken place, a genocide that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about the genocide in Yemen, which numerically might even be possibly worse, but genocide is a genocide. And the Saudi family, the royal family in Saudi Arabia are guilty of genocide. So is the right-wing government in Israel guilty of genocide. I don't care who's committing the genocide and everything. I don't care where it's being committed and who's committing it. What I care about is seeing it being put to a stop. And it's not anti-Semitism to call out Israel. Okay, I'm going to give y'all a couple of examples. You take, I'm sorry about the interruptions on the internet here. You take slavery, blacks into the New World by white Europeans. That was one of the greatest evils that's ever happened. Or the genocide of Native Americans by white Europeans. As evil as it was, and the white people that did it were evil. Doesn't make every white person evil. Let's talk about homophobia, for example. The homophobia that's been committed institutionally throughout all societies around the world by a heterosexual majority. Doesn't make every straight person in the world evil. The 9/11 attacks that took place in New York and Washington, committed by a couple of some Saudi Arabians and a few Moroccans getting together. Doesn't yes, they were Muslim. Doesn't mean that every Muslim is responsible for 9/11. At the same time, and then what the Germans did to the Jews in Germany, Hitler was evil, and all the Germans and everybody that engaged in the Holocaust against the Jewish people and other groups as well in Germany and the countries that Germany occupied during World War II were all evil. Doesn't make all Germans evil, or all the people that in those countries that engage in the Holocaust evil. Makes those people in those societies that engage, those individuals that engage in the Holocaust evil. By the same token, when it comes to Israel, what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing right now currently in the Gaza is an evil. It doesn't make Jewish people evil, but it makes individuals that are engaging in this genocide, the Likud government, the Prime Minister Netanyahu, and the parties and the cabinet ministers who are actually probably even further right than Netanyahu. It makes them as individuals evil, but it doesn't make it's not an attack on Judaism like some people want to make it out to be. So I'm just going to go and make these clarifications because they're very necessary when you're taking on people out there that wants to go and smear your character over these things. And even here in America, where the protests are taking place, the very few places where there are incidents where a Jewish student would be attacked for being Jewish, the very, 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 very few places where it's happening needs to be called out. So I just want to go and make this clear. As much as when Muslims are attacking the United States for being simply Muslim, because we have basically an intolerant society that wants to look at Muslims and think, oh, they're all out there to get us. No, they're not all out to get you. No. what's out to get you in a lot of these cases are fundamentalism. And honestly, even in terms of the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict and Zionism in general, the most dangerous strain of Zionism is not really out of the Jewish community, but it's actually out of the evangelical Christians. Christian Zionism is dangerous because that dictates the American foreign policy, and America is being as powerful as it is. You have a lot of fanatics here in the United States who are prejudiced against anybody who isn't Christian, and they have their fundamentalist reasons for wanting to do what they do with this insane support for Israel, which would not just harm, it would just harm all of humanity, what they ultimately want. So that's food for thought right there. So again, I'm sorry for the internet disruptions. My cable service is causing me a hard time. So let me go ahead on the quick chat lines here and talk to everyone here already. I want to talk. I'm back. I'm so sorry about the interruptions. I really am. I really am sorry about these interruptions. Anywho, I want to say hello to Daniel Sports and Highlight, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Also want to say hello to Catherine Ann McCloskey Ross. And I wanted to say that at midnight, Extra Bula is going to have the Weird Wednesday show. So y'all be sure to watch that on Weird Wednesday. It's sort of like the Secret Show, but just Warren without Jimmy. Sometimes Jimmy showed up like she did for the post Halloween show. So there is that. So, well, actually, what's the Halloween show? I'm sorry, because Halloween was on a Tuesday. My bad. So, Cowboy Kitty is here. How are you doing, Cowboy Kitty? Okay, so, anyway, I'm about ready to sign off. I'm going to sign off very soon and go to Denny's. I will be watching Weird Wednesday with everyone there. And I hope to see y'all soon. And until next time, just remember to basically to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Also, remember to, as a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. And remember also to subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all the platforms that I'm on, and always reject corporate media. And until next time, I will see you again. I keep on saying until next time. I just got up a little while ago, so I'm a little redundant when I talk. So y'all